Hey everyone, it's me, Josh Masters, and we are experiencing the Word together. I'm so grateful that you are here. Welcome to another tutorial on the process of experiencing the Word, which is an updated, modernized version of Lectio Divina, an ancient practice that teaches us how to be still before God, how to meditate on His Word, and how to hear His voice. Today, I want to dig in a little bit deeper to the action step. Now, that's step 5 in experiencing the Word, but there was no step 5 in the original movements of Lectio Divina. But the sense of God prompting us to action is sort of implied in movement 4 or step 4 of Lectio Divina. So in experiencing the Word, we've expanded it out so that we can really take a look at what it is God is asking us to do. So if you remember, when we discussed step 4, which was rest or contemplation, we talked about the importance of seeking God's confirmation. We never want to take action or base our theology or base our beliefs on something that cannot be confirmed by Scripture and by God Himself. So we always, once we've had an experience with God or we believe we have sensed something from God, we always want to seek confirmation. That's true both in what we sense that we heard from God, but also in the actions that He's asked us to take. So make sure that after each day of meditation, you are asking God, Dear Lord, and put it in your own words, of course, but you say, Dear Lord, please confirm this for me. That what I sense, I believe is from you, but I'm asking you to send me confirmation. And what you will find is God will send confirmation through something you read or a sermon or something you hear on Christian radio or even secular radio, or a trusted friend, or godly counsel from someone in the church. He will send confirmation of what He's asking you to do and what you sense from Him. And we do have a separate video that talks about confirmation and the 3 questions you should ask yourself as you're seeking confirmation from God. But as you go into the action step, you want to be thinking about that. You want to be thinking about confirmation because you never want to take action steps that are unbiblical or that God hasn't really called you to do. So, once you have had your time of contemplation, then you turn the page if you're using one of our workbooks and you're going to see a page called Step 5, Action. So let's walk through what is on that page. And if you're doing this with just a notebook and you're following along with some of our daily videos, that's fine too. You still want to take this action step, and this is how you do it. So the first thing is, based on today's time with God, what do you sense He wants to address in your life in regards to either your relationship with Him or your relationships with others? And you want to list the things that you feel God is asking you to take action on. Now, sometimes they're going to be internal, and sometimes they're going to be external. So an internal example would be something that has to do with your relationship with Him. So I've been experiencing the Word before, and God says, I want you to have quiet time before me, be still before me, outside of experiencing the Word. So I want you every morning, before you reach for your phone, before you wake up, or I am awake, but before you get out of bed, before you reach for your phone, I want you to spend silent time with me. So that would be internal, something between you and God and your relationship with Him. It may be something external. He may be asking you to share something with someone. He may be asking you to forgive someone or go have a difficult conversation with someone. So it's always going to be something that makes you more Christ-like, draws you closer to God, affects your relationship with Him, or has a more Christ-like effect on a human relationship that you have. So you list those actions, and in the workbook there's little check boxes for those of you who love check boxes, so you can write them down when they're done, and you want to put down a date. And then you want to share that with an encourager. The Experiencing the Word workbooks call them encouragers, and that's what we call them because we want someone to encourage you to take those actions. If you've ever been involved in recovery, though, that would be called an accountability partner or a sponsor. And that is someone who is going to encourage you, but also gently push you in the direction of doing the things that God has asked you to do. So the book is going to ask you to write down an actual encourager, maybe two, that you're going to share what you experienced with God and what God is directing you to do. And your first confirmation may come from that person, right? Because they may give you godly guidance in that direction. So you're going to write down who your encouragers are, whether you're using a workbook or you're just using a blank notebook. And then number 3, you're going to see a section that says Examen. Now, that is not exactly Lectio Divina. It's actually based on another ancient practice called the Examen prayer. And that also was created by an ancient saint, Saint Ignatius. And the idea of that is that you are going to evaluate your day. If you're doing it in the morning, you can evaluate what happened yesterday. If you're doing it at night, you can evaluate what happened that day. Now, I'm going to do a separate video on that because I want to make sure that we're really digging into it. But the idea is that there's a series of questions that you're going to ask yourself. And basically what you're doing is you're asking God to reveal what your day was like, where you went well, where you did well, where you went wrong, where you glorified God, where you maybe need to go and make amends, or maybe go and forgive someone, or take an action that God has asked you to take that you haven't taken yet. So you go through the Examen questions. And again, we'll make another video. So if you're using a notebook and you don't have them listed out in one of the workbooks, then you can still follow along. But look for that video coming soon. But you do want to sort of evaluate your day. In Celebrate Recovery, we call that step 10. That's also step 10 in many recovery programs. But where we have a daily time with God, where we invite God to examine our day. And even if you don't have the specific questions, that's not the point. You can ask God, reveal where I did well and where I didn't do well. But they're so useful because all of us have brokenness and all of us have to evaluate our day. And the reason that we're doing that is so that our side of the street stays clean, right? Our side of the street stays clean so that we don't have buildup in our life, ugly buildup of things that prevent us from hearing God's voice when we're meditating on His Word, when we're trying to be still before God. We want to daily get rid of the things that would get in the way of us listening to Him. So also you're going to find a section that says list your successes. List your successes. Now again, in Celebrate Recovery, or what we call in Latvia, Ista brīvība, which means true freedom. And in all the recovery programs, they say keep your inventory balanced, right? When you're evaluating your day or your week or your month or your year, keep it balanced. Too many of us can just write down all the negative things that have happened. And what we really want to do is keep it balanced because we always have successes, right? So when I'm teaching this as a class, and you may have heard this if you're watching this in one of the classes, is one time you get a pass and can say, my success was that I just did my meditations today. I kept going with this. But you can't use that every day, right? Dig deeper, find something that you're grateful for, something that you did that you can mark down as a success that God did through you. And that will encourage you, right? Don't just write down the negative things where you missed the mark, right? There's good and bad in each day. So keep that balanced and write down some successes. So just a quick recap. You're going to spend time in quietness before God, and you're going to ask Him after your time of reading and meditation and prayer and your time of rest and contemplation. You're going to say, Lord, what are you asking me to do? What are you calling me to do? And you're going to write those things down. Then you're going to identify an encourager that is going to encourage you in taking those steps. You're going to write down your successes and you're going to evaluate your day. And that is going to keep everything clean so that you are prepared to hear God's voice. Now, it's not that God doesn't speak if you have things muddied in your life or if you've had a difficult day. It's not that God doesn't speak. It's that we have a hard time listening. So Please do your action step. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the comments below or email us through the website, experiencingtheword.com, and we will see you again soon. Thanks so much for joining us. God bless.